Hello? This is the first time I have ever done something like this. This is Sincere Deceit, version 1.1.2. I don't know if I will ever do the other offhand games, but I will at least try to do this one. The base64 text at the bottom of this one, of this screen right here, that's really dark and almost hard to see, translates to "I'm sorry for what must be done." Disclaimer before starting a new game. This is my personalized patch of 1.1.2. It has several things from 1.1.3 added to it. Some typo fixes, bug fixes, and to be perfectly honest, very minor things that have been added that do not exist in 1.1.2, 1.1.3, or just any other version of Sincere Deceit. When I get to them, well, some of them I can get to in this playthrough I'm going to do, one of which I absolutely cannot, due to it being part of something where I cannot show it unless I do not talk to Lexi until the industry district. I will not be doing that. I will be talking to her at the first opportunity I get. When I get to those date changes, I will explain why I have added them. Long story short, they are to increase my own personal immersion in the game. That said, let us begin. For this playthrough, we will be doing a smile run to see everything that this game has to offer. I should have said this before I started, but I had forgotten. This is being done in RPG Maker 2003 itself, so I can actually show certain no-clip secrets. Further, this will actually be a red route playthrough, as that is my preferred route of the game. I personally do not care for the blue route all that much. Its infamous soft lock and layer 2 of the tower aside. But we'll be doing smile. Oh, if I can spell it correctly. Also, I am not one to read out loud, because performance anxiety, but I also read fast. So I try to wait a couple beats after I finish reading text. So hopefully that's enough time for the average person to be able to read. If not, I'm sorry. I'm absolutely very much not okay with puzzles that involve sound. Color is fine. I have done a hard mode run. I do not want to ever do another hard mode run. Right off the bat, I do want to say that one of the first things that I did not change from 1.1.2 to 1.1.3 is that I did not adjust the batter's stats to be like that of 1.1.3. I didn't see a need for it, so I just left them as is. Additionally, there might be like a white circle that appears on the screen sometimes. That's from me pressing control, which is how I end up like no clipping and whatnot. If that shows up, my bad. Can't really do much about it other than like try to not just tap the control key. Sometimes it does not work. And the first no-clip secret of the game. The judge. There are some typos in things like the combat book and other like screens and whatnot. I cannot fix those because those are pictures, and unless I have access to the files themselves, the layers, I cannot fix that. And I don't want to risk taking the actual image file itself and trying to like edit it and and have the game use that, because I don't want to risk breaking anything. So things like the combat book and whatnot, they still have their typos. If there's one thing I miss from Find Me, it's the zones branching out into actual numbered zones from the city. That doesn't happen anymore. It hasn't happened since test build. I don't know why this was changed, but I guess it was because there's kind of like no point. Because like they shouldn't be already connected to the city, because the city did like trade with the zones, so it wouldn't make sense for them to just be retracted from the city. It only makes sense from the perspective of like it's a video game, but like in universe it doesn't make sense. So I think that might be why it's changed. I don't know. Chances are I might actually miss some no clip secrets because I'm not used to recording what I'm doing like this. actually never needed a combat tutorial for this, so no. Jessica is a part of another thing that I was less added, more like adjusted, that already exists in 1.1.2 and 1.3, but because I'm going to be speaking to her in each zone, I won't be able to show this off. But if I do a blue route, then it will be able to be shown, and I can elaborate more on it then. Tedious parts of Zone 1. I discovered this back in, I think either 3.2, Find Me 3.2, or the test build, where I was confused by the combat system because the combat system is very different from Sincere Deceit, and I'm like, what? Trying to figure out how it works, because it's basically like the inverse of how Sincere Deceit's bat attacks and add-on attacks work, where bat attacks and Find Me are stronger against ghouls, and add-on attacks are stronger against specters, which is the inverse of how Sincere Deceit works. And I had to check, and I was like confused after this specter battle. I check it, and the batter can't read it because it's too dark, which I think is a really nice detail that was added. For these orbs, I am holding on to them until I get Epsilon, which means I cannot even use them until Zone 3, which is the pain. But I've played this game many times, and I've managed doing this many times, so this is just me complaining. The only time I don't have to do this is in a hard mode run, which seems good at first glance, until you have to deal with Japhet and the red route, and then you keep getting inflicted with fury and burning, and then you die against him like 10 times. That fucking bird that I hate. Also, there might end up just being instances where I use wide angle multiple times in a battle, and that's because my memory be not that great. And there might also be times where I end up using, or I do not use wide angle in a battle because I have the weakness of the enemy memorized, and I forget to even use wide angle. Could you kindly not? Unfortunately, I don't have my notes open, so I don't remember exactly what items appear later in Alma. I think they're a savage symbol or something like that. Weapons, and I believe a bat or a tunic is in the residential district. But I am not waiting until that long. The gray robot, even though I have a feeling it does appear later. I do not need inspirations, they are far too weak to be of any use. They're basically just a normal attack, but that doesn't miss. Try looking left.